Good evening, crowd of people on this Friday night. Yo, fam, man's is raw tired up in here. Like, thank something it's Friday. Thank whoever you ready for thank that it's Friday, but thankful, yes. Well, feel good Friday. Day another building. You know who I am, Natalie Nurture, and I'm joined tonight by the lovely. Introduce yourself, my darlings.
Aliakwe. Hello, everybody.
Aliakwe, good vibes. Yeah. And who else we got in the building?
This is Azieb. And let's start with our mantra that we enjoy.
Yeah, man. It's good when you brought that to the people them last week, you know. Yeah, man. I like it.
Let's start with that. Compassion, dignity, equanimity, forgiveness, gratitude, humility, integrity, justice, kindness, love.
Boom, bam. We could never go wrong with that. All right. Hold up a second. Let me just run a little. I'm trying to sing little intro. All right, and we're back. So I had a little I was playing last week. Thank you, sis, and came up with that. We'll see where it goes. You know me, like I start from when we're there and then keep going. All right, so today we are talking about trust. Azieb and myself was talking this week, and we was like, well, what we're going to talk about this week. And as we was in the conversation, because at first the plan, well, in my head was the whole Derek Jackson thing. But I was like, you know something, he's had bare energy so far this week, and actually, like, was like, But in the conversation, what actually did come up was trust, and then it was like, yeah, trust, and we was both like, yeah, trust, and then I spoke to Ali Akwe, like, trust, like, yeah, trust. So that's where we are, and I guess just as a jump off, sort of thought provoker is trust earned or should it be given? And anybody feel free to start. I'm going to drop that in the comments as well.
I've got my notes, but does Azieb want to go?
No, go ahead.
All right. So what I've written down is it should be given, but my mistake has been to give it before it was earned. Just because I thought people had the same sensibility as me, the same as loyalty. I just assumed they had the same sensibility, loyalty, trust, not to harm. But yeah, and then for me, it would kind of start with respect. And now, after learning from that mistake and given trust that wasn't earned, for me, it says, I'll start with respect and then you can earn and gain my trust.
Start with respect.
Yeah. Taken for granted, basically. So I've got here, I've seen it. Trust is an investment. And if wasted, I'll just withdraw it and close the account with the person. It's been that kind of week, ladies and people.
I love it.
I feel the same way because I didn't write anything down, but I was thinking about it and I was just thinking trust should be given. Okay, with some people it has to be earned, but I think the organic way should be it's given. Like I was just thinking, like when my children were born, is like there was a trust right away. It's like I am responsible for their living, right? For their survival. So trust was given on both sides. So I think when it's like earned, it seems like inorganic.
That's, I mean, what's it called? From my perspective is it depends. Again, it's always about context, isn't it? that's a beautiful thing, what you said about the children. It's that
Mm.
automatic trust, but it's one-sided. They don't have the ability yet. So the reliance is on you as the provider. So that safety net, you're catching them and everything until they can grow into that. So initially, my perspective when Natalie put the question to me, your question to me was that from an adult perspective and from the kind of adult experience, really, maybe from late 20s onward. That's my perspective of saying that.
I agree. And seeing that kind of unconditional trust that children have, it's sacred, very much so. And I think for me, I used to be like, and I do at my core feel that I like to be able to give everybody a chance with trust. Like, let me give you a piece of it and see what you're gonna do with it. It's just like rope. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna take the rope and hang you. I'm gonna hand you the rope and see you can skip with it, you can use it to tie something up, or you can hang yourself with it. But I'm gonna hand you that and hand you a tops, see what you do with it. And then from there, you see from you prove that you don't know what to do with it, fam, then you have to earn it back after that. But I feel like everybody should be given a chance. And I feel as if because of our experiences and a lot of people that like to try and mug after thing and take liberties, there has to be that level of self-preservation where actually, because some people abuse trust, it means that everybody else has to work for it and earn it. But I guess when you have to earn it, does it make it sweeter or no?
Oh,
It
But
was,
you called it sacred.
yeah,
That is, I don't really like the idea of we're all equal, we are all sacred. I don't believe in any of us should be worshipped, but it is a sacred thing. So it really shouldn't be played with in the first place. So if you're going to play with it, you don't deserve to have it in the first place, and from a different perspective, I do agree with the both of you.
yeah.
It is sacred, especially whether it's a child or it's an adult. But as not everyone learns at the same time. But as an adult, you should know better. Really, when someone's given you their heart, their trust, and all of that, depending on how you see the trust or the relationship. If you breach it, the contract's done.
Oh, so
Bye.
like a contract, yeah? I like that. Like
Yeah.
trust as a contract. Ooh, that's a word right
I'm
there.
saying things. Don't deep it too much, because we'll go through it and see. We'll see how our discussion goes and what the viewers and listeners think first of all. Because contracts, there's lawyers out there, and there's some people that will find loopholes when
Well, people,
it's a contract given in trust. It's a verbal contract, and even if it's written, it's a given, isn't it? But people would F that up and find a loophole and try and get some change from you. What? Some coin? I gave you my trust. What do you want?
and how much does that trust cost? Like that, it's literally priceless. But when you said, for me, when you said contract, that was a whole word, because it's like actually it does have terms and conditions, and if you broke them, so then my question that was floating around in my head was, do you think that people know when they're broken that contract, or is it an accident?
I think most of the time people do know, even if they are not conscious, I think. they do know. I think people do know.
Do you
But
understand?
sometimes, yeah, how do I say this? But I just, people know when they trust, when they break the trust, when they break the contract. Yeah.
Can you think of a time or an example or anything that's like for
I think
anyone just
I
throwing it?
think deep down, everybody, they would know, maybe on the surface not, but I think deep down, I think people would know because, yeah, I can't think of an example, to be honest.
I mean, at the moment we're talking about personal perspectives, right? Not from a.
It can be from either. I don't. I think it was just jumping off. Like it's just from a personal experience because it's the easiest way. But if you can see where it plays out anywhere else, by all means, like your wisdom is just most valid and welcome. Get what I'm saying?
Because I've got here from, you know, if it's family, I've got the usual family or friends or peers or
Mhm.
work, governance, media, news, relationships, of course, and always religion, brands. Like within all of those, I always, the only link between them for me is that I think if you're if you're not assertive when that line has been crossed,
Mm.
if the three of us are giving our trust
Mm.
and it's not been earned, we've given it. Let's say we three of us have given it, those watching have given it, and then that trust is breached. It's usually it's manipulated.
Yeah.
If it's manipulated, it's usually for control. So then
Mm.
there's no way, I can't see if you haven't assertive, if a man or woman hasn't asserted themselves, then the person has an excuse. Whoever's breached it and is not super aware, then they have an excuse because it's not been communicated. They haven't asserted, right, you crossed the line. You know, people, you either, from observation, they'll either ghost. I don't do ghosting. I don't want people coming back to haunt me. I will let you know. I don't want you coming back and repeating it. I'll let it be known if the person is open to receiving it. If I realize, oh, unredeemable, then no, I have to deal with myself for giving my trust to the wrong person before they earned it. For
Mm.
me, you know,
Mm.
I should have been in control of that first of all. Is my thought.
But can we control the machinations of people? Like, can we like basically? Because the liar looks exactly the same as the person who's talking the truth, and the manipulator looks exactly the same as the person who's like honest and straightforward. So I guess yeah, in terms of how you react, but I don't think you can be responsible for them being not trustworthy. Do you get what I'm saying? Like that's really hard to preempt unless like
True.
everybody's just gonna be like, you know what? Me no trust phone, me no one, me no like it, I don't like nobody, yeah. And now fam, you have to stay out there, earn your way in and allow me. Like which is a hard way to live also, you get what I'm saying? So
There's
I
some good
say
actors and actresses. You're right.
yeah.
There are. You only find out if you're, I don't know. There's a enlightenment is painful, I guess. You're going to find out when the pain comes
Mm.
and you wake up to it.
Also freeing, I guess, because it's like anything kind of birthy because you I guess when you have been manipulated and you feel that pain and that sting, and for a lot of us it is like on a spiritual and sometimes to the point where it manifests physically, it's very painful. But birth is painful because you always come out and because you can't go back to that original innocence that you had prior to it, because now you know. Do you get what I'm saying? So I think it's the birthing process that's painful, but ultimately at the other side, or like you come out butterfly with the colourful wings. I think I had another question as well, which was um okay, so in terms of the adults and children, is it different for adults or children? Because children, like in terms of atoning for breaking trust, is the expectation different, the same for adults and children? Like in terms of to repair trust?
From my point of view, because I have, you know, a toddler, so her perspective is, if you promise me something, it's now. Even if you manage her expectations, from her point of view, it's now. If you said it, it's a promise. And, you know, we raise her, our word is our bond. Don't say it for saying its sake, because I'm exactly the same. But her, so it breeds distrust, I suppose. So they are, kids are within their rights. But then, you know, you've got adults who haven't grown up either. So I'm trying to differentiate.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
At the moment. Yeah, that's all I have at the moment. I'm still thinking.
That's all right. Pretty good. What about you, Azieb?
I feel like it's so easy. Like, I don't know, I was at the playground today, and I think with kids and trust, it's just like it's almost they can read the energy in that person. It's like a magnet. And it was just so amazing, just because maybe I was thinking about the topic and I was just watching that, and I thought that was so amazing. It was just like they just know right away who to trust. It's a given for them. It's like they don't play around. Like, you know, and with adult it's like, okay, can I trust this person, can I not? It's just like this game, like going back and forth. It's just, yeah, it's different. So I think for children it's just a given.
I agree to an extent.
Sorry, if it's healthy, like if they have a healthy childhood, I think it's a given.
They are.
They're not trying to. They're not trying to like. They don't want to gain anybody's trust. It's there, then it's there.
Mm.
From the nature part, totally agree. Until the nurture and the confirmation bias is kicked in from the parents and the surround, you know, but that's a separate thing. But essentially, it's beautiful to see that. I do believe that they have that energy and are drawn towards good. We let our child read energy, and we just see who she's drawn to. And I'm kind of stopping now, saying, "Oh, say hello," and stuff. And you know, I've started that, and we always discuss but she'll read, and I've actually met a couple of really good people because this child has just decided to just make friends with another child, and I'm like, I love talking with people and connecting and listening, but I was like, I'm not in the mood to make another friend or conversation or pray they're not racist or have this is pre-COVID, or you know. And then this turned out was like we were just both laughing, the parent and I, and we just got talking, you know. Pre-COVID, just they looked at each other, the two kids, hello, took hands, went into the house. I ran in there, came back out. Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. She's sweeping the front yard. Yada, yada, yada. They were both at the same nursery. They knew each other, but it was energy. Playground, she's like, no, I'm not going over there, like you're talking about. So read them and hope the bond is good, and cement the trust before it gets taken by the confirmation bias people.
But I think we could also, we as adults, we can have that too if we choose to. If we, if we take out the layers, we have that. I mean, it's like our body tells us, it's like a body is symptom that you get when you see. I mean, if you're really connected and enlightened, I think you feel that. But to be honest, I tend to ignore that because I always wanted to give the people the benefit of the doubt because I'm thinking everybody's good.
Yeah.
But I think we have that same, what do we call it? That same thing with children.
That's what I was kind of hearing, is that a link of trust to innocence. And I guess in children it shows up as innocence, and in adults it shows up as in kind of intuition, I guess, because you're saying about feeling it in the body, and that, like, I grew up hearing my grandma, my mum, and myself also, oh, my spirit take to that person, or my spirit don't take to them. I don't like their eyes. I don't like that. Like, I know pretty much instantaneously most of the time whether I like somebody or not. Sometimes before I've even physically seen them. Sometimes it's just from their writing. There's just something. There's a down the chalkboard for me. Like, it's just like, I don't like your energy. I don't like you. And I think it's that thing of being connected to the inner child. Don't grow up, it's a trap. Be connected to the inner child that really keeps that quite finely honed and tuned, like you were saying. I had a question as we was talking about it, and in terms of, because I guess when our trust gets broken, it makes us feel our inner child, or for me it does, own it, Natalie, makes my inner child feel vulnerable when you broke my trust. So then my question would be, what and we can say individually, speak from, and then we can put the world to rights afterwards, but us first. If somebody breaks your trust, what does it take for them to rebuild it or to be able to come back in?
I think they have to own it first of all, instead of to play around it, like, oh, like nothing happened. I think they have just to earn it. And then for me, I just give them a chance after a chance, sometimes too many times, my downfall. But I think they have to really own it.
I was going to say, even with saying that it's a downfall, I think it takes really great strength to be able to trust after you've had trust broken or damaged. Because there's some people that literally will go their whole life and go into the ground or into the furnace or off a cliff, wherever they're going, they will go without being able to be that vulnerable with anyone again. So I think it also takes a huge amount of trust. I just wanted to say that. But having to own it first, start from there. Is there anything else?
As they put it well, I think I agree with that as well. So there's some things just have to, if there's people close to you, some people are like, oh, why don't you, your discussions that you see online and the constant circle of discussion and stuff. To your point, Natalie, the people who have to own it will also remain wrong and strong and will never own it, even though they know they've wronged. So for me, if it's someone or people close to you, and you've stated it's wrong, and as it says, repeat offenders, repeat actions, I stop, because you're either, if it was done. For me, my analogy is like when there's things on TV, on radio, and content like this, podcasts, shows, or even threads on social media. What I know is that I bet you, if the same people who are betraying trust or have done wrong but see themselves, they would type, "Oh, that's an awful person. Oh, that character's awful. Why would you do that?" And they would not see themselves, even if it was an exact situation they are in. I just, sometimes you just stop. And it's for the people who are doing it and the enablers. That is it.
Oh.
Your camera. Do you want to come in? Sorry.
It's fine, absolutely fine. We have to live. You get me? It's it's live. We're live, fam. We're live. You get me? I was just like, greetings and salutations, General. I think it's important that the point that you made about like them seeing themselves and the enablers, man, like, because that's a massive part. The enablement is a huge, sometimes bigger than you actually see, because if everybody was to just like Harlem pull up and record scratch, like, yo, fam, what you doing? How are you do? What to, like? What are you? What do you mean? Like, how are you doing that? And I've seen times where that's happened too, and things get shut down. It's like there's a ratio or whatever. You know what I mean? That's all right. Go on, Chu. You're good. You're good.
Sorry, go on.
You're good. It's just so
He's
sweet.
there laughing.
So cute.
He said sorry.
Oh, bless them, man. You're welcome. It's fine. Yeah, it's that thing about I think, because sometimes people do things, especially when it comes to betraying trust. I think nowadays in the culture that we're in, there's an element of clout associated with it. Who can be the biggest a-hole and who can be the most savage, and sometimes you have to choose violence. Don't get me wrong, and so because sometimes you have to just fight fire with fire. Understand, but there's a difference between defending yourself and then just waking up and choosing violence just for petty reasons. And then when everybody's there, like the little jankro, then ready to pick the flesh, it's just like, yeah, just always remember, behind these avatars, behind these zeros and ones, there's somebody's child. Two people in whatever way came together to give birth to that somebody. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's I think, from to answer the question, because I went off on a tangent like I always bloody do. Like, not well, you know what? Stop it, Natalie. I think you're very succinct, and I'm trying to be like you when I grow up still. But and Azie's really good at that as well. Just kind of like getting to the meat and the potatoes. And I hear myself like, I just feel like the waffly little sister.
There's strands to it. There's strands to it. But you were saying about the what's called the difference between the child and the children.
Yes,
trust and the enablers.
Right. In terms of, for me, repairing trust is very important for the perpetrator, the breaker of the trust, to actually first recognize I'm somebody's child. That first part. Show me that you can treat me like I'm somebody's child, because then that way, then start to treat me like a child that you care about, because I'm a child that somebody cares about. I think that's the first part, because most of our stuff is rooted in the child. most of the triggers are rooted in that child. So I do genuinely feel, for me, that's the first part. And it's like, from you can show me, say, yeah, you understand I'm somebody's child. All right, I'm willing to listen, because we're human, we make mistakes. But from there, for me, it's a case of, you're human, we're allowed to make mistakes, but hear what? You only get that one chance to make the mistake at my expense. Just understand this. I forgive you, like, I forgive you for me, because I'm not carrying it. But one eye is always gonna be there upon you. And even when I'm not looking upon you, your energy's radiating. I'm flinging you some Reiki stuff, some Chokure, some, you get me, some Rasenga, boom. No. You get me, that protection level is up a little bit, and it really is. And it's like, you can come into a certain degree, but you have to really show willing to get back to the original place, because actually the center is very, it's very tender. It's like a crab, isn't it? The shell's tough, but the meat is very tender. It's very, very sweet, or you get me? So season it right, man. That's it. It's not really even
The forgiveness. For me, your point about forgiveness, you'd have to explain this to me. It's never that forgive and forget thing. I totally agree with you, but just, you know, it's a related tangent. This whole forgive and forget thing, I've always been about the truth and reconciliation things that have gone around. I always apply. I like that application to the individual and the collective, and, you know, international. My thing is that if there's no respect there in the first place, if there's no love in the first place that you are talking about, that you and Azieb talked about, in terms of the child, in terms of it being sacred, in terms of being given, totally correct, as it should be, in the inner child, and you perfectly put, Natalie. For me, I understand what I am tired of, and a lot of us are tired of, is that when the line is drawn, we are thinking on everybody else's behalf before ourselves. Now, the respect, if the respect isn't there, whether you are kin, whether you are in governance, a stranger, we understand it coming from a stranger. Yeah, but if it's, I swear down, I now understand how genocides happen, how fights happen, how neighbors go, because they're so fickle.
Yeah.
Separate to the, as you say, putting things to right. If you're that fickle with my trust, this is life and death. This is about survival. I'm not putting my life and my trust on the line for people who won't do it for me. I'm not expecting it, but this is about long term. If things go down and I can't look to you, and you're not having my back, let alone my trust. I can't trust you near my picking, my family, my close circle of friends. No. And I talked about enablers, but it's not always easy for enablers, because some are people are loyal to those who put food on their table. They might not agree with it, but the silent complicity, for you not to even like remove yourself from the dominance people, to even send a message and say, I really agree with you, but, you know, if I just make it known to peers, to family, to governance, I'm going to get attacked too. I'd have some respect if there was something. Really sorry, I understand now, years later, I see it now, I experienced it now, I watched Nurtured by Natalie, I get it now, but scared, not strong enough, they'll be attacked. I honestly understand that. Some people can't be by themselves, but I'm not forgiving shit.
Boom, bam.
Because you're gonna do it again.
Boom, bam.
Okay? No. This forgive and forget stuff.
Oh no! Well, this
and
is
frenemies close. Stop. I beg. No.
no, it's for me. It's not forgive and forget because I will never forget. Like even if I'm over it, it's still logged. It's in the Akashic record, fam. It's in there. It's in the universal record. That person's capable of this. I can't now not know that once I know it. I'll try and give them chance to because I think like I've messed up in times and I'm also not the same person I was when I messed up. So like for that reason, I feel like they can have a chance to redeem themselves if that's what they're trying to do. That don't necessarily mean so they're doing it around me. Because like I say, you have to actually earn your way back into that now. Because it is a very nice place to be. Yeah, it's very quirky at times. And if you don't know what like I straight, you'll be like, what the hell's going on here? But on the whole, it's a good place to be. You get what I mean? So I think it's sometimes we have to also recognize the privilege of what it is to be around us and be in our circle. Azy, I realize we've been chatting enough, and you've been taking
No,
in
I'm
everything.
listening. I'm listening.
So it's like I just think that forgive, yes, but like I say, the forgiveness is for me, so I'm not carrying it. But the forget part, no Rasta, me nah forget, never.
I only just I a program that I was watching a drama because I'm not religious. Of course,
Mm,
religion is in our face all the time, but someone actually said the part about forgive and forget something something something. Otherwise, you won't enter heaven. And I understand what you said just now, Natalie, but
yeah,
it hit me. So you're only forgiving for yourself. You don't actually forgive a wickedness, diabolical wrongs that have been done repeatedly, but you're doing it for yourself to get into heaven. Respect to whoever believes and all of that. For me, it's not satisfactory.
I
Make
think,
make amends on earth while we're alive, while it counts
yeah, yeah.
first.
Because I think that's a way of controlling people. It's like, oh, you better forgive. Like, so then it's like, okay, so if somebody's like, you know what, don't make me get into it because I'll just dash the
I know
computer.
what you're thinking because I'm thinking it
But
as
You
maybe
well.
know what I
that's
mean?
another
It's like,
topic for next time because that's
Yeah.
really interesting too. Yeah.
shall we? We'll do that one next week. Yeah. All right. Boom. Okay. We'll put close upon the argument for now. So yeah. No, I think it is. I think when I say for me, like well, I know what you're saying because that can be used as very much a manipulation. So then that person gets to forget what they've done to someone else. Is that what you're saying? Like in terms of it feels quite manipulative. All right. Boom. Bam.
Exactly. That kind of emotional blackmail
Yeah.
to forgive, and then the kind of yeah, let me confess, let me do it again, absolve my sins, Father. I'll do it again, and I'll get
Hmm.
away with it again. But I'm not really learning. While there's loads of casualties, but we're here. We've been through a lot of things, and we are here. I think people will assume when people are online, these actually platforms like this, us sharing this is a lot for us. There's
Yeah.
a lot of things we could go into. Sometime we will in the future, but I think this is really helpful to people because not enough is talked about. These are lifelines for people, these kind of conversations that you guys are starting. But we're going to real talk it. Put yourself first. Be careful,
Yes.
be selective, and if you and be honest with yourself and your questions with people. Why should I
Mhm.
trust you? What have you done for me to trust you? Do you trust me? Why not? All this kind of stuff. We've learned you're going to go through this stuff. So come back to us, share this with who has gone through it, do your fuck ups, and then this will be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, our wisdom will be here. And then, you'll understand when you walked in our shoes. But this is hard won. We're carrying a lot, but this is letting it go, as you say. So yeah, the main thing. So I'm still staying with that whole thing I said earlier. I've withdrawn my trust. I've closed my accounts with people that don't deserve it. The ones who did, we fought for our relationships, and they're strong because they know The real ones know when they've crossed the line.
And the outsiders, them bumbo.
Natalie's lighting a sage for you all and us.
Yeah, the thing, yeah. Choose the lighter on I take yes little bit. Because I was flashing up the lighter because you was booming. You was booming up the line and it was making me just get a little toops of ratchet trick. Like I was in the dance, you know. Oh, funny. Oh. And you know what? I think that little giggle was actually a really beautiful way to bring what could have been quite a heavy subject. I think it was good to say it with chest. Say it with your chest. It was wonderful. Like Azieb said, it's another sub text in this conversation that we'll be able to touch on next time, which I'll be looking forward to doing that with you guys. I think it's time to wrap up a little bit now. I thank you for your time. If any of us want to share your socials, share your socials, and I'll put it on the thing there.
Azieb?
For now, I don't have one.
I love hearing that. It's so good to hear that still in this age. Oh.
Azieb is like, trust me.
Content myself first before I could put myself out there.
Yeah, but while I have socials, if you just do hashtag GUDVYBZ, you can find some stuff. Because in the long term, I'm going to be off grid and I'm going to take my family and friends in the future, and you guys, we can go to a desert island somewhere. Yeah.
I learned to climb 2
I'm tagging along. I'm tagging along.
Yeah. Damn right.
Come in, fam, come in. Oh dear. And yeah, like that's just even. So if I do this, is that good? So we can reach Alekwe, or you can put in hashtag good vibes. Good vibes, GUDVYBZ. Oh my gosh, where am I going? Sorry, sis.
That was right.
And you can catch me at Natalie Nurture on Twitter and also on YouTube. And there'll be more to come. Azieb, you brought us in with the what's it called again?
Maybe we can put the link to it because there is a video that talks about it.
Yeah, we'll find the link to it. Is it the piece?
It's called the compassion beats. I have the beats too here. I use them.
Oh, dope!
I made them myself, but you know,
really,
yeah.
Hold them up at the camera a little bit, please. They look pretty.
Okay,
yeah,
not the whole.
what? Yeah.
The compassion beat. Yeah. So
yeah, well, you never know. Coming soon, crowd of people, pre-orders. Anyway, but if you can, please.
Well, it's not my idea, so we could put the link.
Yeah, I think it's
scientifically proven that when you say this word every day, they're like, just watch the TV. But it's scientifically proven it works. It's what makes us human.
Is it the San Antonio Peace Center? So and so. I believe so.
I can't remember the name of the doctor that came out with
Don't worry. How about if I look and you finish us off with the mantra again, please, because it's just so beautiful and powerful. And what I'll do is I'll either post it as a comment or put a link to it. I'll just edit the intro of the video and put it in there.
Okay.
All right.
Compassion, dignity, equanimity, forgiveness, gratitude, humility, integrity, justice, kindness, love.
That's beautiful. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank
It
you.
was, it was good. We'll prepare that. I think I like to just introduce that, and I'll find who we credit for that as well, and put it in next time as well. And thank you again, having that integrity to just say Azieb, because Azieb introduced me to it, and it was just like it was life changing. So thank you for that, Az. Trust me. So I'd just like to say thank you for tuning in to another episode of Feel Good Friday. Not Friday,
Yay.
Friday. Yeah.
Friday.
Yep.
It sounds funny when I say it, I know. I have to get used to it.
It's so cute. Like, I swear that.
I want to be Jamaican.
Your voice is very soothing when you're
Yeah.
doing that stuff. You should anyway start.
We'll
If you
talk
ever want to do
offline.
anything, start that, and trust me, the downloads would
Sure,
be
sure.
spiritually rewarding and rewarding your pocket. I love listening to that. But
Thank
yeah, stay
you.
blessed, people.
All
Thank
right.
you.
What
Yeah.
good and drink
Blessings.
water? Peace.
Peace.
Ah,